You might have seen some of our previous videos where we have added time passes, and we have added them for a certain category. Now there what we were using was the URL prefix matching, so we were matching all the articles of a single category on this URL prefix here. Now in real life this is probably going to be a little bit more complex, so we won't be able to clearly distinguish which article category we want to target by means of identifying this URL prefix. We're probably going to have situations where we want to monetize some categories and maybe leave out some of the other ones. This is what we aim to capture in this video. What we're trying to do here is to monetize, or that is to introduce time passes for economist articles, so for this article 1, 2, and 3. And then we would also like to include this subscription for sports articles. So for this article we should also be seeing the same subscription, so that if the user would buy a time pass, they would get access to all these articles. Finally, we would also like to define it in that way that the general news are exposed to non-paying users, so this would be completely publicly accessible. As you can guess, this is not that easy if we would use a URL, if we would use this URL prefix here. So we are going to use the ArticleIDs concept, which was introduced in this level and which is illustrated throughout this scenario. Now to do that, we need to go to our source code here. So let us just open briefly the source code for, say, Economist Article 2. And if we would open the source code, we would see that we have added an in-page configuration here that has only one single keyword, one single property, that is the article ID, and we have defined it as time passes here. So we will be using this when we are defining our new time passes. So let's go back into the connector interface. In the connector interface, we have the possibility of defining time passes. So let's define a new one. The title we're going to use for the first one is, since it's going to be a 2-hour time pass, let's just call it 2-hour time pass. And as a description, and just note again, this is visible to all the visitors of the website. So this is the text that will be displayed, so you better make it something verbose. Let's click on the match type article ID, since we will be matching our desired articles with the article ID now. And let's copy the time passes there, without quotes, of course. Let's set the validity period to 2 hours. Let's set the price to €1.50, pay later. Let's match it to the template, click on save. Okay, we see now that the time pass, the new time pass has appeared, and if we go to Economist Article 2, we're going to see that the time pass was added. Likewise for Economist Article 3, 1, and Sports Article 1 as well. So we have kind of the inter-categorical time pass which is deployed on our site. Another thing we wanted to do is not to have it on general news, and indeed it's not there. Okay, so job done. Let's just add a 1-day pass as well. So creating a new time pass, clicking on 1-day time pass. We can add some text underneath, do the article ID matching, and again let's copy the article ID from here. Okay, so this is how it should look like. Let's set the validity period to 1 day. Let's set the price to, say, €3, pay later. Let's set the template to this. Let's save this. And now if we go back to our articles here, we're going to see that indeed 1-day pass has been added to all of them, except for the general news one. So that shows you, just to give you a brief recap, how to do it. So remember to include the in-page configuration here. Of course, also the connector script. Very important to include this underneath the in-page configuration. And then in our connector interface, we would define the purchasing option, in this case is time passes, and link them up with an article ID. That's it. It's as simple as that.